We are in Tisha B'Av. This year Tisha B'Av is way different than any other year Tisha B'Av, due to the fact we were tortured, we suffered. Am Yisrael went through very difficult year that many years didn't go through. And there is a message that Hashem wanted to give us. And let's see the Gemara, what's the whole message of Churban Beit HaMikdash. And hopefully through that we know what we can take for ourselves, how to move forward. So the famous Gemara, Kamtza and Bar Kamtza, Charuv Beit HaMikdash. Beit HaMikdash was destroyed because of Kamtza and Bar Kamtza. The Gemara brings its famous story. Ahu Gavra was that man, the Rachme Kamtza. The person he loves, his name was Kamtza. Ubal Devave, the person he was fighting with, was Bar Kamtza. He made a party. Amar Leleshame, he told his server, Zil aiti li Kamtza. Call my friend, I want Kamtza to come to the party. Azal aiti le Bar Kamtza. Instead of bringing Kamtza, this Khmar brought Bar Kamtza. Ata ashkeche da'aviyativ. Bar Kamtza got an invitation. Yalla, we have a wedding, let's go. He came, he arrived, he was sitting at the table. Ata ashkeche da'aviyativ. The Balabai saw him that he was sitting. Amar le michti ahu gavra, bal devava da'ahu gavra. This guy is fighting with this guy, right? We have a fight over here. My baitacha, what's you doing over here? Kum pok. Get up and get out of here. Amar le, he told them, Oil ve'atai shavkan. I already came over here, Haram. Let me stay. Not the end of the world. Va'iman lach dmei ma de'achilna ve'shatina. I'm going to pay you for what I was eating and drinking. Amar le lo, no way. Amar le, yavina lach dmei palga desuta. I'm going to pay you half of the meal. Amar le, lo, not acceptable. Amar le, yavina lach dmei kula desudatach. I'm going to pay you for all of your meal. The Gemara says, Amar le lo. He says, no. Nakte beyade. He held him on his hand. Ve'ukma beyade. Ve'ukme. And he get him up. Ve'afke. And he brought him outside. So Bar Kamtza, having such a scene in front of everybody, felt very bad. Amar, Oil ve'avuyat v'rabanan ve'lo machubei. Since we had Chachamim sitting around and they didn't do anything. Shma mina nichaleu. That means they're okay with it. If they're okay with it, I'm going to give them a hard time. And the Gemara continued that he went and he complained about Am Yisrael to the king in Rome. And eventually he got all of the destruction of Beit HaMikdash because of that event. There is a famous say that Al Kamtza and Bar Kamtza Charav Beit HaMikdash. Beit HaMikdash destroyed because of Kamtza and Bar Kamtza. There are a few questions that needs to be dealt with that really doesn't make sense. We never see any appearance of Kamtza in the story. What do we have only over here? Bar Kamtza. We don't know even that Kamtza was part of the meal. He never showed up. He was supposed to be invited and he didn't get invitation. He wasn't even present at the event. How come the Gemara says because Kamtza and Bar Kamtza Charuv Beit HaMikdash? Then the Gemara continued, the way that the Gemara described the friends, who is a friend, who is an enemy, it's interesting. Ahu Gavra derachme Kamtza. The one that he loves, his name is Kamtza. In Aramaic, how do you say soneh, somebody who hates? San'e. The one who hates, Bar Kamtza. But the Gemara doesn't say the one he hates was Bar Kamtza. Rather, the Gemara says, Baal devave, the one he had words with, the one he was fighting, but the Gemara call it the owner of the words. Baal devave, ledovev, it's ledaber, to talk. The one he was talking was Bar Kamtza. How come the Gemara didn't say very clear? The Rachmei Kamtza, the one that loves is Kamtza, and the one he hates is Bar Kamtza. Very interesting description. Now, when you see the whole story, I would expect the name of the story to be also, who is the host over here? Who did all of the balagan over here? The host. No, the host. Where is the host? Why we don't even mention his name? He's not even a factor in the story. He made all this, and we never blame him. We blame who? Kamtza and Bar Kamtza. Now, the he said, okay, so we understand that Bar Kamtza is fighting with the host. If somebody is fighting with you and showing up to your meal, the host seems to be a rich guy, you make a big party, all of the chachamim. When you have rabbis in a party, that means the guy is a big donor. Because rabbis don't come to a big party. I'm talking about a rich guy who has money, who came to the party, all of the rabbis are there, he's doing very well, Baruch Hashem. And his enemy come, Bar Kamtza. When he sees Bar Kamtza turned back to him, you know what? Let me pay you for what I ate. What's that? What was that a response? Pay me for what you ate? It's not about payment. I don't want you over here. They're going into a financial dialogue. I'll pay you what I ate. I'll pay you off. I'll pay you everything. Money is not the problem over here. He doesn't want him in the meal. How come we see him offering himself to pay money for the event where the guy doesn't need the money? Somebody you don't like come to your meal and say, I'm going to pay for it? Doesn't help. Get out of here. How come a payment, it's a possibility to keep the Bar Kamtza in the event? When the host met Bar Kamtza, so he saw him and he said, Amar lei, Amar lei, when he saw him that he was sitting over there, what should be his first response? When he saw him sitting, get out of here. No, he give him a shtickle Torah. He give him ma'alach in Torah. Michte, what's michte? Let's see, נכון? Let's see. Ahu gavra, bal devava, de ahu gavra. This guy, ahu gavra, that guy, is the one who fights with that guy. I mean, what are we talking about? You fighting with me. Is he referring to both of them on the third party? That guy is fighting with that guy. We should go over to him, Bar Kamtza, you fighting with me, get out of here. How come he's telling you, this guy fighting with that guy, get out of here? By the way, I would expect Bar Kamtza to give a simple answer. If he told him, what you're doing over here, what should be the answer of Bar Kamtza? I got invited. How come he doesn't give a simple answer? Address the problem. He asked him, "My baitacha, what you doing over here?" Excuse me, your slave invited me. You stuck with me. Instead of answer to him what I'm doing over here, he start offer him to pay for the meal. Doesn't make sense. So interesting that Bar Kamtza blames Chachamim at the fault of the event. We used to, nachon, everybody blames the rabbis when something goes wrong. Okay, that's what you have rabbis for. Nachon? However, the Gemara doesn't go like that. When the Gemara sees that the guy said very clear, he said, Amar, Oil havu yad v'rabanan v'lo michu, since Chachamim were there, they didn't protest, Shma mina kani chabeu. That means they don't mind. Bar Kamtza, it's your problem. You have a fight with the host. Last time in Shul, I don't know what happened between both of you, you are fighting. So you have a fight, you have to deal with it between you and the host. Why are you blaming the rabbi to be part of the story? They have no say, they're not part of it. What do you want them to stop the fight that you yourself created with Bar Kamtza? What's going on over here? So, in order to understand, we need to understand those words, Kamtza and Bar Kamtza. So, people approach you at Kamtza or Bar Kamtza, we're talking about a father and a son, Kamtza, and Bar Kamtza, the son of Kamtza. Rashi doesn't say it. Rashi said, what Kamtza or Bar Kamtza? Shnei Yehudim, two Jews. Obviously, Rashi not trying to tell us that two goyim, not goyim, נכון? We're talking about Jews, נכון? So if Rashi says Kamtza and Bar Kamtza, two Jews, that means that they are not father and a son. If they would be father and a son, Rashi would emphasize Abba v'ben. So Rashi telling us they are not father and a son. So where are they Kamtza and Bar Kamtza? Then their name, it's interesting name, Kamtza. Where do we see the name Kamtza elsewhere in the Torah, in the Parsha? The first time we introduced to the name Kamtza, it's by the Meraglim. When the spies came to see Eretz Israel, it says over there, they came and they report that he said, we were in Eretz Israel, there were Bnei Anak, there were giants in Eretz Israel, and all of those giants in Eretz Israel, he said, V'niyeh be'enehem kechagavim, we were in front of them like a grasshopper, v'chen hayinu be'enehem, meaning we felt in front of them as a grasshopper, and we were looked to them as well as grasshopper. The Targum Onkelos translate what kechagavim? Kamtza. So we know that Kamtza means grasshopper. Very interesting. So Kamtza and the son of grasshopper and the son of grasshopper. What's a grasshopper has to do with it? Wow, what a name we're giving them. So we see elsewhere, very interesting, that Kamtza, also called, by the way, there is a Gemara, very interesting Gemara, that the Gemara said, no, let's skip that one. There is one more meaning to the word Kamtza. There is a famous story that Og Melech HaBashan, he was trying to kill Am Israel. So the Gemara brings that he was holding a mountain, big mountain on top of his head. And he held the mountain very strong. And when he was holding the mountain, he said, I'm going to go to Am Israel and throw it on them. So the Lashon of the Gemara is, Ve'aiti kutsha berichu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought alei kamtzi. He brought alei kamtzi, kamtza. What's the kamtzi? So the story, Hashem brought ants into the mountain. They ate it all. His head popped in, and then his teeth sticked out, and he couldn't get it out. Shiner Reshaim shirbavta, and he got stuck, and he died over there. So here, the Gemara says the word kamtza. Rashi says what kamtza means. Nemalim, ants. So one time, so we see that the word kamtza has two meanings. Either arbe, either grasshopper, or nemalim. What's going on? What's the meaning of it? There is a Gemara in Yuma. No, I think in Bo Metzia. Let me just confirm. In Bo Metzia, there is a pasuk that Shlomo HaMelech said, Lech el nemala atzel, go to see the ways of nemala, asher en la katzin veshoter. An ant doesn't have katzin, doesn't have a governor, doesn't have a king, and there is no police around it. So Rab Chia wanted to check, okay, what does that mean that the ant doesn't have any king? So, the ants like to be in the shade. So there were a lot of ants and under the shade. He put his hand to extend the shade. One ant came out, and she saw there is shade outside. She went back to her friends and said, guys, we have shade outside. The ant came outside and he removed his hand. They found the ant to be liar. They all came and attacked the ant and killed it. So Rabbi Chia learned from that ant has no king. Because if they would have had a king, it would have been brought back to the king. Not everybody immediately attacking the ant. What's going on? What's the message? What is ant, what is grasshopper, and what is Kamtza and Bar Kamtza? So we think we see the following. What's common between ants and grasshopper, let's start with ants. When ants coming, the Gemara says, as a group, always together. When you see an ant, what do you need to do right after? Trace where the ant's coming from, and put the put terror to make sure they're not going to come anymore. Ants living in groups, very close groups together. Arbe, grasshopper, how do they travel? A lot of groups together. Ant and grasshopper traveling always in groups together. Komets in Hebrew means something that you gather and you tie to it together. The Kohen does kmitza in Bet HaMikdash. What's komets means? You take a certain amount, יש קומץ של צדיקים, קומץ של תלמידי חכמים. Komets means very small and close, protected group of people. Kamtza, it's in a closed environment of the ants. The way the ants live, they have no king. So how do they live? They all relying on each other. If I'm relying on each other and one of us does a mistake, what do we need to do to him? We have to kill him. We cannot rely on him anymore. When you have a group of ants, and one of them, we need to rely to protect each other, to take care of each other. If the ants realize they don't rely on someone, they kill him. Because you're ruining all of the environment, all of the group. If I cannot rely on you, we are nobody, we have no groups. Ant means, Kamtza means lekametz, creating a group, bundles of people who are protecting each other and there for each other. It sounds good, but let's see 1 second. The meraglim felt like grasshopper, Kamtza. Why the meraglim felt like grasshopper? What happened to the meraglim, to the spies, that they felt like a group? What's holding the meraglim in their mission? When the spies went to spy Eretz Israel, they had one mission. What was the mission? To talk bad about the land. Since they were the presidents of Am Israel, they knew if they're going to go back to Eretz Israel, if Bnei Israel will enter into Eretz Israel, they're not going to be the Nesim, they're not going to be the presidents. So all coming together, are they together to see the land? No. They all have one purpose, one mission, to give bad report to Eretz Israel. The meraglim all relying on each other on the mission. We all have to look for what's bad around us. Therefore, the meraglim says, we felt like grasshopper, a small group of protecting each other. What does that mean? Let's go to Kamtza and Bar Kamtza. Kamtza and Bar Kamtza, Kamtza it's a group. There were two groups at that time in Am Israel. There was one group called Kamtza. There was another group, Breakout, Bar Kamtza. Breakout meaning they happen today? Basically, somebody told me, Bet HaMikdash nechrav because of sinat chinam. Today, unfortunately, every yeshiva and shul built from it. And everybody break out and they do their own minyanim and they kiviyachol expanding, but it's come from sinat chinam. So there were Kamtza and Bar Kamtza, two groups. Kamtza was the original group. Bar Kamtza, it's a breakout group for Am Israel. This group, Kamtza, they are a club who protecting each other and caring for each other. My group is the most important group, right? The other group, whatever, Hashem Yerachem, hopefully they will have siyata dishmaya to do tshuva one day, but my group, Kamtza, is the most important group. So comes the host, and he invites Kamtza to the party. Why? Kamtza is the leader of his group. You invite the leader of your group. We are part of Kamtza group. Baruch Hashem, we are all together. But the shamash, the server, comes and he invites Bar Kamtza, the leader of the other group. Now, between the host and Bar Kamtza, there is no fight. He never fought with him. The Gemara never said that the host hates Bar Kamtza. The Gemara only said that he loved Kamtza, and Baal Devave, the one that he's talking about, was Bar Kamtza. Meaning, his group that he loves is Kamtza, and the other one, the bad one that we're talking about, then they were Bar Kamtza. There is no personal fight between the two. By mistake, he invites Bar Kamtza to the party, and comes the host, and he sees Bar Kamtza. We ask, the host should say right away, "What you doing over here? I hate you, get out of here." He doesn't say that. He gives him an all understanding to explain to him why he's not supposed to be over here. The lashon of the Gemara is, Michdeletzi, Au Gavra, Baal Devava, de Au Gavra. This guy, this group, are the one who's talking against the other group. So, you Bar Kamtza, you go against who? Kamtza, right? So if you belong to the other group, what you doing over here? This party for the group of Kamtza, not the group of Bar Kamtza. There is nothing personal between the host to Bar Kamtza. Bar Kamtza understood that nothing personal. He said, okay, if I'm from the other group, that means I don't belong to the party. Therefore, I will pay for it. If I'm part of the groups, I'm not supposed to pay for it. You're going to charge your guests for the meal? No. But if I'm part of the other group, let me pay for it. And he's offering payment to pay for his own meal. The host says, no. Says Bar Kamtza, I have an idea. Let's go 50-50. Let's join the groups. I'll pay half of the meal. You represent the other group, we'll pay half of the meal. Let's do it together. That's why he jumped from $100 a meal to $100,000 a meal. As an Israeli, it was Iraqi in Babel. You don't jump from $100 to so much money. But he changed the offer. He said, if you don't want me to pay a bill my own, let's join together. Let's have the group coming together. He said no. He said, you know what? Let me pay for everything. I'm going to be part of your group. It's not the two groups together. Let's join the groups. The Baal says, no. He picked them up and he took it and he threw him outside. My group is over here. We don't want anything to do with your group, Bar Kamtza. The Gemara says, Bar Kamtza saw that the Chachamim were quiet. They were quiet for what? There is no personal fight between Bar Kamtza and the host. It's two groups who are supposed to fight with each other. Says Bar Kamtza, Chachamim, I'm trying to work it out. I'm trying to make it up, the two groups, and you don't support it. You are at fault. It's your problem, Chachamim. And therefore, Bar Kamtza goes and he complains about the king. We know there is a famous two reasons why Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. Number one, because of Sinat Chinam, free hatred. Number two, famous Gemara, because the Gemara says, Shalu, al ma avda haaretz. Why we lost the land? Why Beis Hamikdash was destroyed? דבר זה שאלו לו חכמים לנביאים, they asked everybody, they couldn't find an answer. They asked the Kodesh Baruch Hu, and they asked Hashem, על מה אבדה הארץ? Why ארץ ישראל got lost? He said, אשר עזבו את תורתי. They left my Torah. What's left my Torah means? Instead of learning Torah, they went on vacations. They didn't learn Torah. Says the Gemara, שלא בירכו בתורה תחילה. Before they're learning Torah, they didn't say a bracha. Is that the problem? The pasuk says, "Al ozvam et torati." The pasuk don't say they didn't say bracha. So the Bach, everybody obviously asked, okay, I understand you explained that they didn't say Birkot Torah before learning. That's the reason to destroy Am Yisrael. What's going on? What's the message? What happened over here? Unfortunately, we intend to live with groups. And everybody thinks that his group is the best group. His yeshiva is the best yeshiva. His Rebbe is the best Rebbe. We have in Am Yisrael a need to live with group. But living with groups is a very dangerous thing. Because since you're part of a group, you always might think that the other group is less than you. When anybody think of somebody as other group less than M, is the biggest dangerous in history. As we see over here in Kamtza and Bar Kamtza, I cannot feel that my group is better than the other group. Each group has its own specialty. I'm not better than the other group. But in fact, we see that always is like that. Whenever you have groups, most of the time, people think they are better than the other group. So how do you resolve that? We know in Am Yisrael, we always have groups. One of the beauty parts of Am Yisrael, we have Sfaradim, Ashkenazim, Hasidim, Chabad, Breslev, and then within Sfaradim, you have Moroccan, within Ashkenazim, you have Yeshivot. We all live on groups. But we see a group is something dangerous, because when you have a group, you think the group is make you better than others. So how do we resolve that problem? We said that Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of Sinat Chinam. We ask many times, how come you have Sinat Chinam? If somebody hates somebody else for no reason, he has a mental issue. Why you hate somebody for no reason? What's wrong with you? Why do you have Sinat Chinam? Sinat Chinam begins on the following. If somebody want to tell me, Rabbi, you're short, am I going to be offended? No. I know I'm told my back is hurting now, it's fine. I know my issues. I'm told. Is somebody going to come over to me and tell me, Rabbi, you're dumb? Then maybe he's right, no? Tall, I know I'm tall, but maybe. So when am I getting offended for my friend? Only when something I'm insecure, I'm uncomfortable with myself, and then my friend triggering the insecurity within me, this is when I'm getting offended, getting upset, and this is when I hate my friend. So if I hate my friend because he told me I'm dumb, who do I really hate? Myself. Because I'm insecure about myself, and when he said it, it triggers something within me. People are insecure about themselves, intend to be around groups. Why people fan of basketball teams and soccer, football, כל הדברים. Why? Being a fan means what? I'm part of a team. The need to be a fan, the need to be connected to a group, coming from a lack of a place within myself that I'm comfortable with who am I. And I need the groups around me to validate me. Somebody who goes through sinat chinam, it's a person who needs to be part of a group. If you feel comfortable about yourself, you don't need the group around you to validate you. You should be comfortable with who you are and need to be around another groups, supporting by others coming from lack of self-esteem. However, we still have groups. What's the solution? I want to touch a sensitive topic, but I think it's important once in a while to touch it. We all know that Hashem gave us bracha, Baruch Hashem, we have Eretz Israel. Eretz Israel come with a package. It's called the Zionism, Tzionut. Right? Tzionut, Zionism, going to Eretz Israel, building Eretz Israel, Medinat Israel, it's something crucial. I was 2 Shabbatot ago in Bell Harbor, and on the one who leads the minyan over there, it's a hotel. The one who in charge of the minyan is a Satmar Chusid. So at the time, after the Torah, few guys said, Mi sheberach to the Chayalim. And he didn't want to do it. A guy was sitting next to me. He said, this is disaster. Israelis, everything is disaster. You know why? So I said, what happened? He said, I'm 210 days in Gaza. I came here for 10 days vacation. He can't say bracha for me? All of my friends left there. They cannot say bracha for the Chayalim? He was so upset, so angry. And after the tefillah, they were like, schmoozing, what's going on? Can't say bracha for the Chayalim? The truth is that this Chosid, he said bracha, for the whole world. All of Am Yisrael. So a guy told them, he said bracha for Am Yisrael, that's including the Chayalim, what do you want? He said, no, but give them bracha. They deserve it. Nobody ever said that Chayalim doesn't deserve bracha. Chas v'shalom. But there is much more fundamental issue. What's the issue of the Torah, of the yeshiva guys, of the Torah, of the Rabbanim, that we are not connecting with Zionism? People can talk about Eretz Israel, it's special. It is one of the 613 mitzvot, yet, but we don't give it so much specialty, and in a way, it's being very ignored by all of the Rabbanim in Eretz Israel, in Yeshivot. Nobody does Misheberach L'Chayalim. It's very, very, very intense topic, especially now. Yeshiva guys are not going to the army. Why not? Eretz Israel, it's a special thing, nachon? We have beautiful land. Why not join it? It can be part of the Torah. There is nothing contradicting the Torah talking about Eretz Israel, the Kedusha of Eretz Israel, the specialty of Eretz Israel. I think we have to understand the following, unbelievable. Many times in history, a nation left his land many times. Only 3 times in history, a nation left his land and came back to the same land. Only 3 times in history. Am Yisrael, after the first Churban Bayit Rishon, the first temple destruction, after the second one, and 75 years ago. That's were the only 3 times in history that Bnei Israel, that a nation left the land and came back to the land. If you look at it, it is very clear and noticeable that being part of a land cannot gather people to go back to it. Because there was never any nation in the world that being part of the land, and they left and came back. So a land, very clear, cannot unite people and cannot put people together. The only reason Bnei Israel were able to go back to Eretz Israel, there is something else uniting Am Israel. What is that? The Torah. Torah, it's above land. It's above everything else. When you have the Torah that's connecting between everybody, leaving our land has no impact on us. Why? Because the land never connected between us. What's connecting between us, it's only the Torah. So whatever we go in the world, it's connected between us, the Torah. I was in Mexico, you see a Jew, Daf Yomi. We connected together. What's connected between us? Only a Torah can connect between us. Being Italian, after 3 generations, they are not Italian, they are Americans. How can they relate to each other? Because the grandfather was Italian? Shkoya. Our connection has nothing to do with the land. Our connection with each other is we carry the same Torah, the same religion, the same stuff. That's united us. And all of the world, whatever we are, we all united, we all stick together. That's the unbelievable power of Am Israel. The Zionism, we're trying to replace that. Something else can unite it between us. The country, Tzionut, Eretz Israel. They were trying, and they said it clear, and I'm sorry to say that, but we need to know that let's replace that with the Torah. Instead of having the Torah, we talk about the land. When all of the Yammonites, Moroccans, they came from Morocco and Yemen to Eretz Israel, they cut their peor. They said, in Eretz Israel you don't need it. Because what's building us, what's uniting us? It's Eretz Israel. Zionism, unfortunately, it's not part of Torah. People trying to unify through that. You see some people with a band, with Israeli flags. Again, I'm not putting down anybody because people needed to feel closer. But we are Bnei Torah. We cannot relate to each other through a land, through flags. We relate to each other only through something way above everything. We relate to each other only through the Torah. That's our connection. That's why all of the Gdolim in Eretz Israel, everybody so against from Zionism. Everybody loved Eretz Israel. But taking that and replacing it instead of the Torah being united, this is the most dangerous thing. We're talking about groups among Am Israel. We have many groups among us. Sfaradim, Hasidim, Ashkenazim, Litayim, with each other. We have so many groups. Is that dangerous or is that good? It all depends. If we live life of Torah, what's governing us, what's leading us on every action of our life is the Torah, then the groups that we are under with each other are not a problem. Because if you understand that what's give me obligation in my life is the Torah, so I cannot be better than anybody else. If I am observant and he is observant, he can wear a round hat, I can wear a bun, and this guy can wear kippah sruga, and this guy wear kippah nachman. We are all the same. Because what should unify between us? Who we are, we have the Torah which putting us together. Then we have no problem. Then we are allowed to be groups, and it's good. Because as a group, we can support each other. But the identity, who we are, cannot be part of the group. Who we are is through the Torah. That gives us our identity. Our group to support us for the higher mission, for the mission above of observing the Torah, doing Torah mitzvot. They were asking the Bris Kerov, the Bris Kerov said that his father, they were talking back then on a different of Chabad at the time, and they asked him what your father was saying about it. He said, my father said, whoever lives Shulchan Aruch is my brother. Shulchan Aruch makes us belong to each other. When we are brothers through the Shulchan Aruch, you can have below that a group. But if we don't understand we are brothers through the Torah, through the Shulchan Aruch, the group's the biggest dangerous thing ever, and that's why Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. The Gemara says, why Eretz Israel was destroyed? They left the Torah. Says Rashi, says the Gemara, Shelo berchu b'Torah tchila. What's the first bracha of learning Torah? Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. Meaning, he defined us, he chose us from among all of the nations. How? V'natan lanu et Torato. Blessing the Torah is recognizing that who we are is Natan Lanu et Torato. That's unified between us. Said the Gemara, Bnei Israel didn't have that understanding that we are related to each other from the Torah. I'm learning Torah on my own. We are not connected to each other. That's why Bet HaMikdash was destroyed. This is the same sin as Sinat Chinam. Sinat Chinam, I don't feel good about myself. I'm relying on my friends. But before you rely on your friends, your identity should be the Torah, and then you can be supported by your friends and each other. Unfortunately, what happened in October 7, we saw that Am Yisrael split. It was disaster. Now we live here, and we look at it. They split, and that's why they got October 7. We are here. Everything is okay. Nachon? Should be fine. And it's natural and it's normal to us to look at the problems elsewhere and not ourselves, because we're human beings and nobody wants to take fault of a problem. But if it's happened in Eretz Israel and everybody were terrifying over here on the day of the day, right now everybody fearing what's going to be. There is a Hamor over there sitting in Iran and it threat Am Israel. People constantly fly. They don't know what to do. Sean is getting married. He called me up today. He said, Rabbi, if you don't come to my wedding, it's okay, I understand. What's going on over here? We are in a world that affects everybody. So we cannot say it's them, it's us. But the way I think we should extend it to ourselves, it's okay. We have a group, we have a yeshiva, we have a rebbe, we have a dress code, we have what we have. But we do have the responsibility to look at every Jew. Let's start. Anybody who keeps Shulchan Aruch, we cannot look down upon. Whatever it is. He can dance during his Shmona Esrei up and down, whatever his custom is. He can do whatever Yechi Adoneinu, he can do whatever he wants to do. Anybody lives life of Shulchan Aruch, we have a responsibility not to think below, even for a second, not even to think about it. To look on each other in a way that we all live a life of Shulchan Aruch. And even those who don't live life of Shulchan Aruch, we have to look at them as our brothers who will eventually. And they will get part of the Torah. We cannot look down upon anybody around us. If we'll take that message, I think just to look around, and anybody around us, to look on it b'ayin tova, to think he's my brother. And we all surrounded by life of people who keep Shulchan Aruch, and at least want to keep. Even those who don't keep Shulchan Aruch, they want to keep Shulchan Aruch. It says Yetzer Hara. Nobody intentionally around us don't keep Shulchan Aruch. They don't come to Shorashim, you don't associate with them. There are very few people who don't keep. But even those, they want to keep. But c'est caché. People used to driving on Shabbat. It's hard not to drive. People used to smoke on Shabbat. It's very hard to stop doing it. But our perspective, our connection with each other should be to get out of the group, to be above the groups. The groups is the dangerous. As soon as you have the Torah, the groups is the bigger treasure that can connect and build us forward. Here at home, we should connect each other. We should be comfortable with who we are through the Torah. That we're not going to need validation from others. We'll support each other, and we'll see all of us ברוח טובה, באהבה, בחיבור, and we should be זוכה בארץ ישראל, בשורות טובות, all of the שפים, all of the captives should come בשלום, all of our חיילים, בעזרת השם should come back לבתיהם בשלום, אמן.